Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Van Veldhuizen. I'm the Quality Assurance Manager at Cyan.
Hi, my name is Ryan Warzecha. I am Associate Designer at Cyan and was the producer on Obduction. And I think today we're just going to play a little bit of Obduction, talk a little bit of our war stories, and see where this all goes. So, Josh, you can start playing it right now.
Let's begin.
Yeah. You know, when we look back at this now, years later, it's so funny to see how well it still holds up, and um, what we did with the small team that we had at the time. Um,
Yeah, I think I I first came onto this project in 2015,
mm-hmm.
and I remember I would sit in the conference room with RAWA, and I would just play what was available, and he would take notes on what I was doing.
Yeah.
Um, and it was really early into the project where we'll see here when we go to Hunrath, but in Hunrath there was the original scans that were drawn up
Mm-hmm.
by the design team that were scanned into the game, and so there's a lot of like actual handwritten stuff all over the place, and it was very very early on.
Yeah, and when you talk about RAWA, for people that don't know, Richard Watson was one of the main designers with Rand Miller on Abduction, and this intro sequence kind of plays out how we had expected it during the Kickstarter campaign. You get captured by this foreign object and then taken to another world. So. Kind of stuck to that. At that time, this was our first entry into Unreal 4 too.
That's right.
We were learning the engine as we were going, and so it was quite an experience
Oh
nonetheless.
yeah.
Yeah,
First VR title
first
as
VR
well.
title too, so we had a lot of learning there too.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I always love that sequence of the dots going into each other and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was some fun bugs with that.
Yeah, I can imagine. You were just at the little there, and when we were first designing it, or when Rand and Rob were first designing it, I think we wanted more than what ended up in the game. And of course, you always have to deal with cuts and all that stuff. But one of the things that we were hoping to have is more hidden objects. Well, you bring the lamp up and maybe you twist the top off the top and you find a note inside. But as we started to learn in VR, a lot of those interactions are really really hard
Right.
to make happen. And then not only doing a VR title, but also doing a 2D title. So how do you do that interaction? I think we're finding that out with all the new games that we're producing now too. Is like what works well in 2D does not always work well in VR, and so it's trying to
Yeah,
balance that.
that's true. Yeah, here's Joseph.
Yeah. Yeah, the funny thing about this too is I was talking to Jeff earlier about things, and originally we had planned for characters, like actual 3D characters for Abduction, but because of budget and time constraints and dealing with scripts and all the rest, we ended up deciding to go back to full motion video, and kind of a little nostalgia there with how
Right.
Mist was done. Luckily, we were able to find local talent, and yeah, Joseph did really, or the guy who played Joseph did really well. So yeah.
Yeah, I always liked walking into this prairie
Yeah,
area.
one of the best shots and kind of the key art of the whole game. Yeah, just coming out in that prairie and seeing this white picket fence and this alien world behind it. As you go through the Hunrath area here, can you think of like any bugs that were just ridiculous at the time, or anything that like
Um, I think one of my favorite bugs was so right now,
hmm
I haven't deactivated the dome,
yeah,
but just to show when I'm going to be referencing here, when you get to the edge of the map, there's dome here, and right now I can't pass through it, but later I can. And I remember there was a bug really early on where when I passed through it on the minecart, some effect played repeatedly forever, and then there was like just this horrifying sound of I think it was like the dome sound itself was playing over and over. It was just it was like something out of it was like hell. It was just terrifying. It was pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Then there was another one too where when you got out of the minecart, there's an animation of you getting out of the minecart. It just puts you beside the door.
Yeah.
But during that window of time, you could move the analog stick, and it would basically do all of that movement action after it placed you out. So you'd be put out, and then you'd go fly around into whatever direction that you had.
I mean, you guys, I will always say, we have the best QA team. I mean, you guys find the stuff
Thank you.
that no one else can, and very proud to have that team here at Cyan. So, you were walking here, and I was just thinking about the awry creatures, the things that flew out when you guys were going through testing. Those weren't in for the longest time, and then all of a sudden, they just showed up one day. What was that reaction like? Did that seem like a bug too? Or I remember, man, they didn't work well at first, and then
they were completely static, if I remember correctly. Like now the wings flap and all that, but at first it wasn't like that. So I do remember being like, what is that? And I think I don't even think there was the final art applied to it at the time either. Yeah. So it was like, I couldn't tell.
Yeah. What the heck? Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no flutter.
Yeah.
It was, and I think they were like just jet black because of the lighting, hadn't applied to it yet. All right, we're gonna go meet CW.
Yeah. I have to say that this sequence here of ringing his doorbell and opening up and all that was always it just felt right.
Yeah.
Over all the other videos, it just felt like, okay, that one's working.
Right. Yeah, I always liked we'd have to test how many times that all of his lines would work, and boy, he roasts you if you if you come back too much.
Yep.
Yeah, this looks good.
And of course, that is Robin Miller, one of the co-designers on Myst,
right,
and founder of Cyan. One of the founders, anyways. So. Yeah, we were lucky to get him back for Obduction. One of those things where it's like, talking to Rand, and we're doing the Kickstarter campaign, and he wanted to be a part of it. And so originally I think it was just going to be voice acting, like I said, because we were going to have characters. And then once we went with the full motion video, then it was like, okay, we got to kind of get you in costume again,
Right. He did the score too, correctly?
Yep, he did, actually. Yep. Yeah. All the music. Yeah. That whole process of capturing video too of the actors was a whole feat. New into VR, we were just learning about how do you capture video of an individual and have it still be stereo? You know what I mean? And so, at the time, Chris Doyle was here, and he kind of an advocate for VR at the time, and he was learning about people who were taking GoPros and kind of offsetting them for the eye, and making a little cabinet so that they could sit in there, and you could record it all synced and everything like that, And in the end, it worked out pretty well. I mean, in VR, you still have that parallax and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what we did. We, here in the basement of Cyan, big old green screen with some lights. I think we borrowed some lights from Jeff at the time, and kind of homebrewed it, and I think that's the beauty of Cyan is like we do a lot of that. We all of us have multiple hats. It's not just one role or job, and we can kind of be all over the place. And with Obduction in particular, I mean, we all had to take multiple roles. A small team and kickstart it and all that stuff. So
yeah, VR in those early days was something else.
yeah,
I remember. I'll have to come back here anyways, but one of the first tests where I felt like nauseated from that was riding the minecart.
Yeah.
Because we ended up putting a vignette, I believe, on the PlayStation version. But that initial time testing that was, it'd be in the 20 FPS range in VR, and it'd be like, I have to get through this. I just got to the point where I'd close my eyes and then just ride the minecart and just time it.
Well, and then I mean I know that the minecart itself design changed over time because we needed to have more of a cage around you so that you had like it.
Right.
Because originally it was just like, you were basically going to be open, wide open, flat. But yeah, all of that makes you just feel sick when you're moving through VR. So. And
now it's not like now we've been doing this for so long, but in the early point, when we first started using VR, and I'm sure this is true for anybody who picks up a VR headset for the first time, if you get into a position where you feel like nauseated, that's like it.
Yeah,
for
hours.
You're
done for the day. Yep. Yeah.
So.
When you finally get to that position, you definitely are like, okay, well, I can't do anything more today because
Right.
Yeah. This was a fun little puzzle that kind of played out. I remember, being in some of those design sessions, being like, well, how does a diesel engine even work? Right? and it was fun. Man, it was so much fun just, being around Richard and Rand and then Eric helping with all that design and stuff like that, and just putting, 2 and 2 together.
I always thought, I think it was Joe.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing this, and I was like, "Oh wow, this straight from Jet Set Radio, really reminded me of that." And found out, we had a similar interest.
Nice. Yeah. And as always, Cyan, we love our power puzzles, so it's always about getting power on and then moving power to some sort of location. Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
I haven't touched this game in a long time.
As that was flashing, I'm like, should it be starting by now? I don't even remember.
I remember it has to turn completely green.
Yeah.
And then the indication was supposed to be, if, like if you didn't know to go back to CW there, you'd see these are now lit, and you could hear the electricity.
Yep. I made that sign.
That one right here?
Yeah.
Nice.
my great art there, you know what I mean? So that was awesome.
And that's all to scale, correct?
Yeah, exactly. Scale, it was perfect. So. Well, I mean, again, that kind of goes back to some of that stuff. There's some stuff in here that, I did some silly art, you know what I mean, or whatever.
Right.
There's some drawings, I think, of RAWA's kids or somebody's kids that are in, like, some of the houses and stuff like that.
Okay.
And,
There's more crashes right here in this strip in the... this like river area.
I just love this
the
area,
entire rest
though.
of the game.
Man, like
it looks great.
It was first time coming past that gate there, and then you come into this area. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Again, it holds up. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, this is at Epic settings, 1080p.
Yeah.
Resolution scale is at 200, I believe. Field of view is at 100.
Yeah. So now back to CW, huh?
Yep. This is the first roast. He asked if you want a medal for turning the power on. I remember this.
And don't you get an achievement too? Like
Yeah, yeah.
power on. Well, power's on.
He does
Come back
apologize.
for a medal?
Yeah, see, he did neglect his manners there.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, every character in here had kind of a backstory. Cecil being part of the Civil War at one point, and you wonder how much of that backstory gets portrayed, and so the fans kind of get understand it and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it was pretty fun. So far you've seen Joseph, Farley, and Cecil.
I don't think I played the Farley message, did I?
Did you?
I should go. Yeah, I'll go do that next.
But yeah, basically we had 3 actors for the entire game that kind of played 3 different roles.
Yeah, I was thinking back too with like how VR has changed,
Mm-hmm.
and we tested on the original Rift.
Yeah, yeah.
So we had the sensors, we had the Oculus remote.
Yeah, that was, I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, man, we could play the entire game of Obduction with a remote.
Yeah.
Well, that was crazy. And then also the joysticks and stuff like that, because back then they didn't even have hand controls until later on. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Yeah, we had the, let's see here, node mode.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, we want to talk about nodes. That was one of my jobs too, was setting up all the nodes in Obduction, And
All of these?
yep.
Yeah,
I set
so
all those up. Oh man, and that became an interesting dilemma, because like you could decide to go in 4 directions, north, south, east, west, but then like it's an open game.
Right.
So I ended up making I think there were 5-point nodes where you
in the
could-
prairie
yeah,
over there when we first came
exactly.
through. Yeah, I do remember that. It was
'Cause-
funny though from our side with the Oculus remote.
Yeah.
You could I remember being able to test the game. You could cross your shoulders and just kind of sit there.
Yeah.
And just barely move your head, and then you just push forward. Anytime that you need to, I mean, all of the interactions are like A button,
Yeah.
drag this way or that
Yeah.
way, and so yeah, it was very like it worked really really well with the Oculus remote, which you don't even hear about anymore.
No. I
I
mean
mean, you have it for years.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and as we move forward with VR, even the Rift itself is becoming. This came out on the Rift, and that was a big thing. And then the Rift S came out and stuff like that. But like even that is not being sold as much anymore. It's all about the Quest now, or Quest 2.
Right.
Which is awesome. I mean, it's an all stand in one, so it works great that way. But
It's much easier to test on these days because all the sensors are on the headset and the controllers.
oh man, yeah, you remember the just Vive testing and stuff like that. You have to have a room, and you have to have the sensors in the right spot and all that
Right.
stuff. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I feel like a huge part of the job back then was like troubleshooting
Yeah.
VR stuff
Yep.
because I remember, we'd have to get USB hubs
Mhm.
for all the different extra ports that we would need, and sometimes there was issues with that.
Oh yeah, there's definitely was a lot of technical issues just with VR in general then. Yeah.
Right. And I remember when we started working from home a lot more frequently with COVID, like we just had it down
Yeah.
for all of those. Like we just had guides for how to troubleshoot all of that, and It was good having this experience to kind of like, have to go through all of those steps before COVID ended up happening.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, as much as we say that this is an old game, we continue to update it, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, just continue to bring it all to the new, different consoles and
Right.
items. So
Yeah, it was my first Xbox One game. First PlayStation 4 game that I worked on.
yeah.
All the different
Yep.
designs. It's always fun. I've got to tell a story though.
Okay.
One of my favorite abduction stories.
Okay.
It involves you.
Oh, great! I can't wait to hear it.
I think it was back when it was around the time that I was, in the conference room playing this in front of RAWA.
RAWA, yep.
But you had given me the physical paper designs for Puzzleissimo.
Right.
And which, if anyone's played this, that's watching, it's far off into the game. It's probably I don't know, universally recognized as the most difficult puzzle on this one.
Yep.
And you wanted me to see if I could get through it. Do you remember what happened?
I don't remember actually.
Okay. I spent I want to say it was close to 2 hours, and I was like, Ryan, this is impossible. This isn't a thing. And you were like, oh, I didn't give you the last piece.
Well, yeah.
Because you remember how there was one that was in
yeah,
Hunrath?
yeah.
It was the long piece.
Right.
And then as soon as I saw it, it's like, oh, okay, this changes everything. But yeah, I remember being like, okay.
After 2 hours. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for not giving me the piece. Let I need it, but Wow.
Yeah, that was funny.
I was a little scattered back then too. Let's just say, had a lot going on.
I think it was super early. The design for that might have been the day before or something, where we didn't even know there was going to be 5 pieces to it.
Yeah.
I remember that was what other testers got caught up on too, was that there was another piece in Hunrath already.
Yeah, you had to remember. I mean, the way that the worlds interact in this game are pretty awesome, but you kind of have to have that spatial idea. Okay, there's something over in another world that will come over here when I move to that other space. So yeah.
Right. Let's see if I still got it.
You got it. Can you go? Oh no, yeah.
Should be able. Yeah.
Oh,
did it.
Do you remember the speed run time on this? Was it an hour?
It was it wasn't less than an hour. God, I was just talking to him about this too. I forgot. I can't remember if it was Nora or Russell that holds that. It's one of the two though. But yeah, it's an hour, and I mean, when we say a speed run, we mean a QA speed run is more a golden path. Make sure everything that you can interact with works. So it's not just trying to get through the game. It's trying to effectively test the path so that we know there's no new A blocks. It was an hour and something.
Yeah, this whole area is just, I mean, all these little things were fun. I think I loved about Obduction was the kludge nature of everything. Okay, we're just going to take, this back hole and we're going to put it on a rail and they just took pieces and parts from everything and just made it work. There we go. Power. That whole thing.
Oh yes. Yep.
That was full of bugs at one point too, wasn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool
Yep.
cool puzzle.
Do your math, everybody.
Actually, yeah.
Oh,
Check
yeah,
it out.
there you are.
There's Dog and Michael Doguera, Mark
Yep.
Farrell.
Yep. Fun times.
Yeah.
Did Jeremiah put that in there? I can't remember now.
I can't remember who did it either.
All the license plates.
Yep, license plates.
It's so funny too because because of a Kickstarter campaign, we had a lot of backer rewards, and so some of that stuff is just strewn in here too.
Was this put in here so that people that never used a rotary phone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so that people who've never used a rotary phone could understand that a letter and a number could, have the same. Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm having like kind of deja vu right now, but I can't remember if we discussed that before or not.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy to think about, but yeah, that definitely exists. People never used a rotary phone, so.
Feel old yet?
I was just talking about one of our new games, right? And somebody was saying, the younger generation doesn't know what radio is. I was like, oh gosh. Oh man. Yeah, I just always loved the landscape, the way the art worked. Yeah, there you go through your dome.
I think that was the first time I went through, yeah.
Yep.
Let's go check out Chain.
Yeah. If we can get there, let's check that out. 'Cause there's some QA stories there too.
Yeah, I remember Chain was, like once we get there, it'll be more obvious, but that was where I think we first fooled around with like, let's go base jumping in VR, And yeah, like the sense of vertigo was real.
Gosh. That whole base jumping in VR and hearing that the QA team was doing base jumps off of Chain was like, oh my gosh. I can just imagine you guys sitting in there just trying to get sick, being like, oh, who's gonna get sick first?
Well, after a while, yeah, I think it was like our, we were like VR veterans that even if the frame rate was terrible, we could. I mean, that's how it kind of is now. Like, it'll definitely,
Yeah.
like there is a point where it's just too much. But I feel like we're not green behind the ears anymore with VR stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well here we are in Chain.
Yeah. Man, I always love this place. Just the big cliffs, like that was and big machinery,
Right.
Everything feeling kind of gigantic.
Cold and dark. I'm doing all these like that was a shortcut method.
Yep. I was just gonna say.
I can't not do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just awesome to see this game and still be just as impressed with it now as it was when it was launched. Like, and when I say small team, I mean I think at the time we had maybe 6 artists.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
we used to jump from. I mean, there wasn't actually collision up there, but we would.
Yeah, you'd fly up there and then just like
right. Press the F key and just look down.
Well, this was fun, man. We have to do more of these and talk more. Maybe get some of the other QA guys in here and.
Agreed. Yeah.
So.
Share our favorite stories with some of these projects.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. Talk about big gears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh man. Remember the machine?
Yes. Yes, we had lots of bugs here. It was funny. There were some bugs where these would rotate and they would just increase in speed indefinitely until the game like crashed.
When you guys came across, you just ran past it up above, but the big box of buttons, right? When you guys came across that for the very first time, how long did your team decide to just try to play it, try to figure out what those numbers were, how to solve it? I feel like you guys did for a while, or somebody did, before you finally realized it was just
I can't. I remember messing with it, but I don't think we were on it. It wasn't like Puzzleissimo where I spent like a long time being like, what is going on here? I think pretty quickly we were either informed, because I think it became like a testing thing. Like, I mean, you could spend a long time on that red herring. Spoilers.
Yep, red herring is it.
But I didn't actually show what it is yet, so.
So no one will know. No one will ever know. I just love that mechanism there. That whole piston and it's just so cool. And at one point we had a thing in here called funicular. It was going to be this thing that goes up and down, and you had to sit yourself in one side of it and get. I mean, I don't even know if that showed up in your guys' testing ever.
I don't think so.
It was early on.
I know that there was some drawn stuff on paper for. I mean, I don't even remember if it was chain or not, but. All right.
Well, let's wrap it up. If you take that and
let's wrap it up and
take that back to Hunrath, and we'll call it a good day.
All right, yeah. So went from chain right back to Hunrath. Thanks everybody for joining us. This was a lot of fun. We hope to do it again soon, and take care.